You don't wanna never count yourself out, make it a great one. Just be sure to leave out the doubt, time to wake up.
Hi, I'm Harrison Tash, and what we're talking about today is really just building this business that thrives with you but doesn't depend on you. And for some of you listening, that might mean like succession planning in the next 3 years, or maybe it's even 2 years. Or maybe that just means that you want to build this business because you need to build a business where it's not dependent on you, so that you can focus on things that are more future-based, such as some of this AI boom, or creating the right partnerships with your suppliers, vendors, doing these things that will help your business stay sustainable for years to come. Whatever it means for you, I want to give you 3 broad areas to look at in your business. Really audit them, think about them, and of course would love to give you resources on this if you connect with us. So let's get started on this. The first step that I think is really important is vision. Now, I know that means so many things to different people. So let me clarify on what I mean by vision. We're going to break this off into 2 parts, and specifically talking about whether it's succession or just building this business that isn't dependent on you. Vision is really broken down into company vision and personal vision. Company vision is, hey, what's on the horizon the next 3 to 5 years? What is the industry trends, the things that are changing? Where do we need to be? And then there's this working backwards from that and saying, what are the milestones that we need to achieve to get to that vision? But then there's the personal vision, which is, where do I want to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Do I want to be less in this business? Do I want to focus on more other objectives that I'm not doing today that I should be doing? Whatever vision is for you, it's actually putting it into a framework. And I'll give you a simple framework that you can put this into to help you with your vision, personally and company, which is a revenue goal for your company. But then when you break it down, these go for both the personal and company, which is, what are the characteristics that I need to have? These are things that you think of like, I'm not very good at this today and I need to have this if I'm going to reach this vision one day. It's also big goals, milestones. What are the things that are going to need to happen in the next year, the next 2 years, the next 3 years? But then also you're looking at putting bullets down and just describing it tangibly, right? So if you said, personally, you said, hey, I don't want to be in the business as much in 3 to 5 years, then you're going to need to put down some bullets tangibly to say, here are what maybe the day-to-day looks like. Here's what the month-to-month looks like. Day-to-day, I only want to be working really like 9 to 3. I don't want to be here 12 hours at a time. My family's tired of that. I don't want to be doing that. So you write these very specific things down that kind of describe your vision of what it looks like in 3 to 5 years. If you can do that, then you can kind of work backwards and focus on the next step, which the next step, or phase, if you will, is leaders. And I don't just mean people who are running sections of your business. I mean leaders who run the business for you. And like, how do you get here is really dependent upon where you are today. But let me give you some broad ideas here that might help you envision what I mean by healthy leaders who run the business for you. Maybe some examples might help actually first. So here's an example. You have a business with a second tier of leaders. So you have someone who runs your marketing or sales. You have someone who runs your finance. You have someone who is running a lot of your operations. We're really looking at and saying, if we remove you from that picture, can they still operate the business without you? And if the answer is no, then we have to work towards actually helping leaders be able to run the business without you. And what that might look like is maybe you have a second person who's basically your general manager, your VP, who oversees those leaders. Maybe if that's not in your budget, we look at how we build each leader in their section of the business so that if you were gone, they knew how to take certain portions of the business. For instance, in the finance, Maybe today you do a lot of the projecting and budgeting, and then you hand it off to your maybe CPA, or you hand it off to your CFO, and they're able to work in those things. Maybe you don't even have, maybe you have a partner as a CPA who does this for you. So if you walked away, who would then take over the forecasting and the budgeting to make sure that it continues with or without you? Another example is maybe today you do a lot of the business development. You're creating a lot of the partnerships, you're creating a lot of the relationships. So the question is without you, who would then take that over? How do you train them? Do they have the context that you have? Is it written down somewhere, right? So these are the things that I'm talking about when you're talking about building leaders. We're focusing on that they can actually run the business with or without you. The last phase is systems. Now, when I say that, again, it means lots of things to lots of people, but I want you to think of the system as kind of the vehicle. The processes, the functions, the checklist, the technology, all of those things are actually the drive shaft and the tires and the wheel and the speedometer. So the vehicle is the system, and the processes and all the things that fall from or around that are the other components of the vehicle that make that vehicle as a whole. So when we're talking about systems, we have to look at, yes, we have leaders who can run the business, but do they have the right systems that help them do it more efficiently, more effectively? And so when we're looking at systems, some of the questions that you can ask to kind of audit some of this is essentially asking, okay, if this section of our business, say marketing and sales, is fully dependent on someone going out and handshakes and meeting with clients, and if it's fully reliant on personal relationships, then we have to look at building systems that actually is working when you're not even working. Meaning there's automation, meaning that there's campaigns that you're actually structuring around where it's fully in people's faces, your target audience, they're seeing it with or without someone going and actually handshaking and talking to someone, right? That's an example of building out those systems that help your leaders run the business with less of their time. This is the three areas that I would say if you can focus on these three and kind of audit yourself and get to a point where you're saying, yes, I need some of this, I need to work with this, you can start here and start asking the right questions. If you want more resources or material on this, you can go to connect@consultlivingwater.com, or you can go to consultlivingwater.com and you can actually connect with us on the Let's Talk page. Would love to send you any resources you have or have any conversations with you, and we can talk about where you are today and where you want to be. So hopefully this was helpful. We'll talk to you next time.